Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another exciting episode of the Rational Investor Baby Powder Report. This is Julian. I'm here with, and actually, it's more than very special. It's extra super special because we have, he is a TRI veteran, Nachodon. His name is Nachodon, and he is also a Terra elder. So you guys know that Sjorn has been talking about Luna Terra ecosystem for a long time. I think it's been like at least half a year now. Well, I think Nachodon knew about it even before Sjorn did. So he's here to present some, I want to call it like tales of Terra from the past, from when it first began. And then we're also going to get into and talk about some NFTs. And we're going to talk about maybe a little bit of the future of the Terra ecosystem and the value of fundamental analysis. Nacho, do you want to say hello a little bit? He's a bit pixelated.
Yeah, you can't really see me. Sorry, I'm in a hotel. The upload speed is evidently horrible, even though the rooms are super expensive. Yeah, I am Nachodon. I am one of the original Lunatics. I named the Lunatics community, and I kind of got a little funny story about that. I'll tell a little bit later. I am a TRI grad. I am an advocate of TRI. I do have a private group called the Nacho Research Lab, in which we are kind of more about trading a little bit, but I think I always have the opinion that we're all traders, and that's why I've sent Julian and Brian at TRI about, I don't know, between 15 and 20 students over the last year because I'm
it's about 20.
Yeah, I'm such a big believer in what these guys teach, and when you add the trading skills to your tool belt, it's just an amazing set of skills that you add to your life. So. But the Nacho Research Lab is a little bit more fundamental. We talk about farming strategies and NFTs and all that kind of stuff. And one of the things that many of us were in very, very early for fundamental reasons was Terra Luna.
Yeah, awesome. So we're gonna get into that. You guys know that I always review the charts, right? We go through our little routine. We're gonna do a condensed version of that today. About 15, 20 minutes. I'm going to go through, let me share my screen, and we'll condense me. So make me, shrink me down. Chris, please. I'm going to share, let's see. Okay, let's share a window here. We're going to jump into a couple charts. I think you guys already know which ones I like to go through. All right. Can everybody see my screen? We're all good? Should be presenting now. All right. So first thing, we're going to go through S&P. I'm going to check it really quick. We're going to skip all the individual stocks that I normally go through. We're going to touch on Bitcoin and where I expect that to go. And of course, we're going to talk a little bit about Luna, since this is a Luna special episode. Maybe I'll touch on a couple Luna, like Terra network thing, like Mir. I want to talk about Mir a little bit. And maybe I'll touch on a couple other ones for you guys. And then we'll jump into talking to get some stories from Nachodon. So don't go anywhere, okay? We've got some really interesting stories. Okay, so S&P first, right? We took this dip. Let me go full screen here. F11. Oh, that's not good. I don't want that. All right. How do I close this? Sorry, guys. Okay. All right, so this is the S&P. Let's go to the weekly chart. You know what? 3-day. I like the 3-day. So we had this massive channel, right, that started forming back after the COVID crash. Here's the COVID crash. And now we're here at September 2021. And we took the biggest dump since September of last year. Ironically, the last time price declined this much was September 2020. Seasonality, anyone? And we broke down from this channel right here. We have this channel, and we also have this channel. I can do a bigger channel like this, okay? And we broke down from both channels. Even if I expanded the channel to the maximum that I could, we closed and broke down from it. This is a huge fake out. This is a big short signal for some people that trade on channels. And now we're bouncing and heading back into the channel. And if I condense it again, condense it here, we still haven't crossed back fully into this smaller channel. So I'm a little bit concerned. You can see I built this. We're going to go to a daily chart. I built this smaller downtrend channel here, and it looks like we're starting to break out. I want to go if I go like this, we're at the top of the channel. I want to see a breakout above this top channel to get really bullish on the S&P again. But if we look at the daily RSI, what does RSI tell me? RSI already has a W and a breakout confirmation from my downtrend. That's super bullish for me. I think we're gonna head back. We're gonna head higher, and we're gonna head to all-time highs. Okay, I'm expecting that we're gonna hit the top of this channel at least right up here, 4,700 area. That's kind of what I'm seeing. I think this was the scare. They scared enough people out, and it's time to reverse. I think if you're in your 401k or Roth IRA or anything like that, there's no reason to panic here. And if you sold, you should check your trading plan and consider looking at potential buybacks here. Because if we go to like a 12-hour, you can see this W that came in on price action. I've told you guys that I'm learning and practicing with using only price action on lower time frames. Anything below a daily chart, I don't use indicators anymore. I use naked price action and channels, fibs, naked price action. And I'm finding that it works a lot better for me. I've got 100 trades that I'm working through. And once I finish that, I'm going to present it to you guys. I'm doing it on Bitcoin and the S&P. So we'll see. Maybe give me another week or so. You can see we didn't break out of this bigger channel just yet. So we've run into this level right here. I need to see a close above this, and then we could safely, a good move would be to wait for a close above here. Okay, we close, say we come up here, close one day, next day maybe we touch, and then this is your long here, and take off. And we can do a chaos, right? We always like to look at chaos. And we see what level does chaos target? Right here, right like this. Chaos targets right up here. 4,700 price area. I love how it lines up perfectly with my channel. Look at that, 4,700 lines up with this long-term channel level. Okay, so that would be what I'm targeting. And my trade would look something like this on the breakout. Here you go. We take this, I set my stop down here, and this is my target up here. Okay, we've got almost a 4-to-1 risk-reward trade. So that's what I'm seeing on the S&P. It also helps that crude oil is breaking out higher. I think normally I talk about gold, but we're gonna skip that this time. Let's jump into just Bitcoin. Well, you know what? Before I do that, I always talk about the options. Let's look at the options expiry for this week. 435 is where the S&P is gonna expire, and that's where max pain is. While they want to keep it below 440. Where are we right now? Let's look at the SPY. SPY is at 441, and we have a gap right here. Quite the gap was just created. So it's possible they could push it back down tomorrow, and we close and fill the gap here, and then we head higher. That's also a major possibility. I could see that and that's why we look at these options, right? Every Friday, they want to see how they can cause maximum pain. 435 is the area of maximum pain, and look at where we have our gap, 435. So don't be surprised if this reverses and we close down here, and then next week we work on breaking out higher from this downtrending channel to continue the uptrend. Okay, so that's S&P. Let's now switch over to Bitcoin. Bitcoin, I have multiple channels. I feel like Bitcoin's been especially hard to trade. You can see here I've got my long-term chart. Look how fast we moved up here. This is a 3-day. Sorry, it's kind of messy. Once I make it to a daily, you'll see what I'm talking about. You can see within a week, Bitcoin went from about 42,000 to 55. That's how fast it moves. Okay, you have to be on top of things and prepared, because when Bitcoin wants to move, it is going to move extremely fast. So here's the daily. Okay, let's look at this, and let's include RSI here. You see RSI broke out. Here's my downtrend, and here's our breakout. And what happened right after this breakout here? So stochastic was bullish. RSI broke out in the daily right here. This candle closed, and immediately after that candle close, we shot right up to 55,000. So $4,000 price increase. But the real question is what happens next, right? That's what already happened. What happens next? That's what everybody, that's what we want to know. And for me, let's go to this. Let's look at the price channels. So this is too high time frame on the daily. This is why I have to stick. I want to look at the RSI to see, did I get some kind of breakout? Yes, I received a bullish breakout. Okay, let's go to a lower time frame to analyze this. Okay, here we go. So here's your uptrending channel, right? You guys can see that. Maybe we'll go to a 4 hour. I think 4 hour makes this a little bit more clear. Here's the channel I drew, right? And here's the midpoint. You can see it bouncing around this midpoint. This midpoint's pretty important. And I drew a second channel here because we broke out of the channel and then we came back in. So I'm gonna, you can see here's the downward part, and you see how it crosses right here with the midpoint of the bigger channel. This is a major, you can tell this will be a major support level. Yeah, I agree, Will, but I think 4 hour works pretty well for most people, and I don't really recommend going below that. The lower you go, the more difficult I think the trading becomes. The more volatile and the more difficult, and often how do I want to phrase this? The success rate of your signals will decrease exponentially, and there will be more games played. I prefer to stick to 4 hour charts or higher. When I went to 15-minute charts and 5-minute charts and used leverage, 10x, 20x, my gray hairs doubled and tripled. Okay, you guys see this? This is from leverage trading on 5-minute charts. All right, let's see. So I think we're going to touch this level. Maybe we can draw some fibs right here. And we'll reverse that. All right. So I think that we will come down and touch this 50%. We've touched the 38.2. We could come down and touch this 50% right here and even wick to 61.8 at 52,000. That's what it's looking like right now. You've got support there, and then your next major support level is right here at 51,000. Those are the two major supports I'm seeing. I think they're decent buying areas to consider, especially since daily RSI broke out. Bitcoin looks very, very strong to me. Maybe let's take a, don't worry about price action, but let's look at I like to look at the weekly chart of Bitcoin on the RSI and see just what RSI looks like exactly. Let me just take a quick peek at that. I know this chart's a mess for the weekly. Just don't even bother with it. Don't worry about it. I mean, let's go to a different, let's go to a clean chart. I can kind of talk to you guys about this. Okay. Delete some of these, delete. Okay. Let's make that a little bit bigger here. And we're going to delete this. Can you see that Bitcoin touched my 4.669 level? I think I drew that. Yeah, I drew that from all the way down here. So Bitcoin just hit our chaos level target from the range lows. Okay, this keep in mind this is a weekly chart. So this is a range from May to July. And I took the range, and that gave me a chaos target level of 55,500. Yeah, RSI broke out on the weekly, and my only concern is that we hit my 4.669 target. Generally, when Bitcoin hits a target, when anything hits a target, chaos level target, usually it consolidates. It pulls back and consolidates. So we have to see how this weekly closes to really determine, is Bitcoin bullish? Are we really truly going to break out and go to all-time highs? Because right now I'm not 100% sure. I need to see how this closes. If we close above 55,000, 56, 57, that essentially confirms the bullish breakout for RSI. But right now, we're not above this midpoint of this W. This is a W, right? Like, it's an ugly W, but it's a W. We need to close above here. This is the midpoint. And price has not closed above that to match with RSI. I think Friday, honestly, I think we will get a reversal tomorrow. I think we're going to get a pullback in Bitcoin down to 51,000 area, like I showed in the chart. And then there will be the typical like weekend fuckery and then we'll see in the final closing hours on Sunday what Bitcoin is actually going to do. But expect a lot of fuckery going into that. I don't even like using that word. Expect a lot of FUD to happen and confusion. I think Binance is also launching. I heard something. Binance is launching, doing some kind of launch pad. So that could also mess with the market a bit. Yeah. So that's what I see on the weekly. It does look like, at least with price action, like it wants to break out. We've got an ABCD target up here. If we break out, this would be the next target here. And I like this. All right. That's your next target at 6,200, lines up with the highs. And then my 8.77 is at 78,000. So I guess my final message on Bitcoin is be careful the next couple of days. There's going to be a lot of FUD, and watch the weekly close. Okay. Close above 56, 57. We're easily going to new all-time highs, in my opinion. Close below that, more range. That's kind of what I'm seeing. Okay, so that's Bitcoin. Let's look at Luna. Here's Luna. And this is your uptrending channel. You okay? Somebody said something.
I said beautiful.
Oh, yeah, it's a nice chart, right?
I get excited when I see a Luna chart.
So you could draw the channel like this, or you can take it all the way down here like I had here. And I've got another channel right here. So you can see how it hugged the midpoint of this channel, and we kept tagging this top line. I want to make it a little bit higher. Yeah, there you go. You can see how it came down to this midpoint and it bounced off of it. One time we ran through, scam wick down, and then bounced. I want to put us like this. Yeah, let me see. You want to get as many touch points as possible and then see how things line up. Like I said, I'm still working with this. It's a new trading method for me. Let's look at the RSI. Let's include RSI. RSI broke out, right? So Columbus 5 happened. What day did Columbus 5 launch? Not sure. What was the day?
I think it was a few days ago. I'm sorry.
October. Okay. Somebody in the chat tell me when Columbus 5 upgrade happened. What was the exact day? Oh, awesome, Harold. Welcome to Bangkok. Everything's shut down right now, just so you know, and curfew at 10. So it's not too exciting right now. Well, no, it's been going on. They haven't opened anything back up, really. There's things open, but not a lot. There isn't a lot of stuff. Oh, there's still some things closed and curfew at 10. Anyway, back to the Luna chart. So Columbus 5 came out, right? And I think around that time, a little bit before, we broke out of this RSI downtrend. And you can see with price was consolidating this whole time. While RSI was trending down, price was consolidating. This means when you get this kind of price action, it means it wants to continue higher. And eventually we did get that breakout. Here's your breakout here. And you can see right after that happened, we went from 42 up to 50 right away, extremely fast. And now, again, we're consolidating. I'm kind of surprised that Luna didn't move higher. I expected a move up to $55 to $60. I didn't expect it to stop at 50. I guess it's a major psychological level, so it makes sense that it stopped there. But for me right now, this RSI is still bullish on Luna, and I could definitely see a push higher. But we are in this channel, and I'm going to go to a 4-hour to show you guys a little bit better. This is kind of my range for Luna. See this breakout here. We're in this big, here's our big channel, and then we've got this smaller uptrend channel. And we've got this little W that formed, and we broke out of this W. And this is kind of what I want to see. This is what I'm thinking based on chaos for my Luna target. Reverse. Yeah, look at that. You see how, again, chaos lines up with the top of the channel, right at $60. Oops. Let me adjust this really quick, by the way. Okay. Isn't that cool, guys? I mean, this is, I feel like I just showed the same thing with Bitcoin on how the W formed, applying chaos to that, showed the exact level that lined up with the top of the channel. So Luna targets $60. And if you want to consider entering this, I would kind of do something like this, and I would have a couple entry points. I would draw from here to here, and I would, oh, let me change my fibs, different style. I want this one, and these would be my entry points. So I do like 25% here at the purple line, 25% here, 25% here, 25% here. I ladder my orders, and then my stop is below these lows right here. You know, you might even want to do here. This is safer, like this, and then put your stop below here, 39.9, and you ladder your orders in this area in case we do get a retrace here. We could get just a retrace here, and you might only get one fill, but better safe than sorry, in my opinion. Always preserve capital. That's kind of what I talked about in last week's show, right? That I showed that chart where, like, if you lose 10% of your portfolio, you have to make 11% back. If you lose something like, well, I'll just go with if you lose 50%, obviously you have to make 100% back on your future trade. It's way, way harder to make back what you lost than it is to preserve what you have. So that's why I recommend kind of this safer trading method where it's okay if you miss the trade. All right, that's what I'm seeing on Luna. I'm targeting $60. And if there's a pullback in this area, I will be buying from 43 to 41 is my buying area for Luna with a stop below 39.9. That's what it looks like to me. Right now, it seems good though. I don't see any like bearish reversals on the horizon. One other one I wanted to show was Mir. Okay, Mir, I was very surprised by the reversal that happened on the chart. I thought, and it's Mir protocol, by the way. Mirrors essentially real world stock assets. And you guys have heard me talk about it a couple times. Now I made a lot trading AMC on Mir. Maybe I want to do, I think KuCoin was one of the first to list them. Okay. So this is my downtrend line right here. Right, like this. That would be my downtrend channel. But if I include RSI on a daily chart, oh, wait, okay. So yeah, there's our initial downtrend, right? We broke out. Here's our next one right here. I like to do it like this. So I'm going to delete this. And you can see RSI broke out. And stochastic RSI is extremely bullish. F11. Can you guys see how bullish stochastic RSI is? And look at the regular RSI. Super breakout. However, look what happened with this candle. Look at that. All the way up to 3.75 and total reversal. If we had closed up here, like up here, I would have been extremely bullish on Mir and been buying right here at 3.6 with a target all the way up here at $6. But for some reason, some whale decided to dump Mir after the price pumped. I'm guessing algos might have caught this signal, and then some big whale in Mir dumped when price reached above 3.5, 3.6. It's happened a few times. Right here, here, right here, over here. I think what's happening is the problem is Mir is a farming token. So you stake in various pools. You provide UST combined with AMC, GME, all these different things, and you earn Mir. And I'm thinking there may be some whales that are earning a lot of Mir. And when price spikes, they use that opportunity to sell their Mir. That's the only thing I can think of for why this happens.
Julian, can I jump in here for a second?
Yeah, sure.
Just commenting on Mir, I'm probably going to be running for the CEO of Mir by governance proposal. Yeah, because I want to fix some things in Mir. I won't get into that on the show, but what I look at when I see a chart like this is I see accumulation going on, and I see that the price is being suppressed. Yes, you might say whales, farmers that are looking to get a little bit extra, but I think the price is being suppressed here. And one thing that people should realize is when you're looking sometimes at a chart like a farming, you could call it a farming token like Mir, but Mir is an interesting token in the sense that all of its revenues that it gets, is by fees and not inflation. I'm talking about governance staking. When you put your MIR in governance staking, you earn non-inflationary fees. Those are created. Those are given by market buying MIR from the fees collected by the protocol when short positions are closed. These are synthetic assets. They're not real stocks. So that's important to note. And what I see here is the inflation on like December 5th is going from 233% to 40%. So that's a big drop off in inflationary rewards. And what I see is, what I sense here is that whales are accumulating this coin for a run up either later this year or early next year. That's just my take.
I do agree with you. I do see accumulation. I was just talking about this short term one candle, but this breakout here on RSI and the stochastic RSI, especially on a daily chart, extremely bullish price action. You can see last time this happened, right? Yeah. So this happened before here. Draw like that pretty easily.
I think MIR is one of the most exciting DeFi coins in all of governance tokens, simply because of those non-inflationary rewards that you can get, and those were as high as 100 and some percent earlier this year before version 2. So those are incredible rewards that were not coming from inflation at all. Remember, only the LP and the pools, the yield farms are inflationary rewards, and also the airdrops. But when you stake in government, you're getting non-inflationary rewards. So I'm very bullish on MIR. I think this is a great coin. Again, I'm more of a fundamentalist investor type rather than a trader. And I know you're talking about the trade here, but I just couldn't help but chime in on the positive fundamentals here on that I see on MIR. And if anybody's used MIR, you realize how, even though the UI isn't the best, it's just an absolutely incredible platform, and it's fun to use.
I mean, I like that I can place limit orders. I haven't seen that on many DeFi platforms.
Right.
Limit orders is a big help. And like I said, I've been using MIR since I remember when interest rates, you were being paid 200%, and I remember taking certain trades. Like I said, I longed AMC when it was in accumulation, but I did it in a pool. And I held half AMC, half USD, and I was like, wow, I'm going to earn 200% APR while waiting for this stock to take off. And I felt like I'm earning free money to hold this, and I'm not exposed to crypto. What I liked is that you can essentially be in crypto, but not be exposed to crypto. So I can go into MIR, and if the stock market's still doing okay, but the crypto market is in a bear, I can still earn from trading on the MIR platform.
100%.
If, say I don't like to short much, maybe I'm a bullish trader, and I can just stick to trading in the stock market. The stock market's still bullish. Right. So that's what I love about it.
You can short stocks on MIR too, so
Yeah, I've tried the shorting. I'm not as big of a fan of it, honestly, because you have that lockup period, and you need additional UST to unlock it, and I think there's some extra charges on the short side.
There's a 1.5 fee on the closure of the CDP, which is the collateralized debt position or the minted position.
That kind of swayed me away from it a bit. So I mostly stick to longs myself. Okay. I think it's just easier personally. Okay, so guys, that was my kind of general overview presentation. Nacho, we can jump into whatever you would like to start with.
Okay. So I made a couple of notes here while we're talking. I'm sorry I don't have anything formally prepared. Julie and I just touched base yesterday afternoon, and he asked me to come on, so I said sure. I'd love to come on. Anyway, I wanted to sort of present, when Julian said we'll come on and talk about Terra and stuff. So I'll get to Terra in a second. But what I wanted to say is that, first of all, from my viewpoint, and what I always sort of preach in my private group, the Nacho Research Lab, is that we are all traders, right? And it's just like one of the first lessons you learn at TRI is like you try to discover what kind of investor or trader you are, right? So that's part of Brian Beamish's sort of first lessons in TRI. And so, figuring out where you are in that perspective might take you years, actually, to figure out where you really are and who you really are.
I'm still not sure where I am or who I am.
Yeah. So, I used to think like, well, I used to see these guys and, aping in with all this leverage and this margin trading and stuff. And I would sort of feel left behind because I didn't really have the appetite for that kind of risk. And, I'm the kind of guy that when I find like a project that I can really sink my teeth into and believe in on a fundamental level, I can make much bigger bets. But like if I go to a casino, I have a hard time betting $25, right? Whereas like I can bet hundreds of thousands of dollars on something I believe in, right? So that's like, I sort of discovered that I'm that kind of guy. Like, as I need information, I need to have the warm, fuzzy feeling about the project based on research, though, right? Based on intuition and things like that. Some people have it, some people don't. Figuring out like, where this project is going, who's leading this project. And by the way, I did want to start off and say, Do Kwon is a legend. Okay, he is the Michael Jordan of DeFi. Okay, so let's just get that out there straight. And the Lunatics are the fucking best community in crypto by far. There's never been a crypto community like it. And I'm very proud to have been one of the founding members of the actual Lunatics. And I actually named the Lunatics. I'll get into a story about that in a second. But getting back to, so now that we got that out of the way, let's talk about like us as traders. And what I wanted to talk about today is an alternative in a way to trading. Now, again, keep in mind, we are all traders. So we start off with that premise. But, I will look at myself as an active investor, right? So I'm not just buying something based on some fundamentals and then letting it sit on a shelf for 5 years and then going off and digging ditches. I like to get involved with the investments that I do. And I like to consider myself a value add investor, okay? And so there's a lot of value in crypto when you're able to jump into, let's say, a community, right, early on, like I did with Terra, and bring value to that community, because what you're doing is you're maybe possibly getting access to some sort of alpha information. You're sort of got your ear to the ground and the heartbeat of the project. You know exactly what's going on, good or bad. It could help you pull the plug on a bad project, right? So you start to see negative things, and you can have an influence on your own investment. Okay, and I want to just tell a little story about my story with Terra. As what I consider myself as a value add investor, is that in the beginning, when I came and I found Terra and I read the white paper, because I'm sort of like a researcher, like I said, I'm more of like a fundamentalist kind of guy. And again, I've been through 3 levels of TRI, and I love the teaching. Sent you guys 20 students from my group, but when I saw Terra and I read the white paper, I said, this is really something. And I said, stable coins are going to be the thing, and their vision for the mint burn with Luna and coins like KRT at the time.
Nacho, can you explain quickly just how the mint burn, how it works? I understand it myself, but maybe you can explain it in like 30 seconds.
It's just an arbitrage of like whenever Luna is trading, or whenever UST is over the peg, you can always mint $1 worth of Luna for $1 worth of UST. So you could be minting a premium of Luna in one direction, and then in the other direction you can burn Luna to mint UST. And so arbitrageurs will take that to the exchange, and in some cases, like when we had the knife falling in May, people were actually minting Luna at a discount and then selling it on the exchange, right? So basically, rather than get into all the economics of the way that the peg system works, you can go read that in the white paper and stuff. The important thing to understand about Terra is that there is an economy being built to sustain the algorithmic stablecoin, right? And that is why so many algorithmic stablecoins have failed in the past, but Terra is actually working, because like in my group, when in May, when UST temporarily lost its peg and was off by like 6, 7, 8%, we were going to the exchanges and buying UST at a 6, 7% discount because we had faith. We had faith in UST and the underlying economic protocols that are being built out on Terra. And that was in May. And now we fast forward another 6 months, and there's even a plethora of DeFi protocols that are being built out on it, which will all be consuming and using UST, thus adding to the stability of the peg. But again, that's sort of like, these are kind of things that we discuss in my group in depth and things like that. And, things that we discussed early in the Lunatics community. But I wanted to say that, as an active, let me get back to active investor, right? Active investor. So if you're an active investor and a value add investor to something that you're invested heavily in, don't ever underestimate the ability for you to actually have an impact on a project, right? So here's one example, right? So when I was first in the Lunatics group, well, it wasn't called Lunatics. They were called Terrans. And I was always like, what the fuck is a Terran? Right? Like, this is the dumbest name I've ever seen, right? Now we had I think there was 70 people when I joined the official Terra Telegram group, which, by the way, wasn't even an official Telegram group, because I think at the time Do Kwon hated Telegram and he was only on Discord. So if you ever wanted to go talk to Do Kwon, you had to go over to Discord and be like, hey, what's going on here, whatever. And sometimes we go and chat him up a little bit, and then we return to the Telegram where the real community was being built. And so there were 70 guys in that Telegram, and now I think there's 26,000. But there was some early guys, and one of the things that I noticed, and this is a little bit of a hint for you guys that are looking for fundamental research into crypto projects, is when I went into the group, I noticed there were a handful of guys who are now like, amongst Terra elders and stuff like that, that were like guys who already made it, right? These were guys that have cut their teeth on bull markets and bear markets already, okay? Some of them have made millions of dollars already, maybe lost millions of dollars, but these guys, by crypto standards, had already made it. And so when I looked at that, I said, okay, I'm in good company here, right? It's not a bunch of freaking 20-year-old idiots talking about why Shibcoin is going to go to the moon. These guys were entrenched in the details of the project, right? And so as we all sunk our teeth into it more, we all became bigger believers and bigger proponents of the project. And then we were like, well, what the hell is going on here? Why isn't anybody here? We're literally 6 or 7 guys sitting around talking to each other all day about how great this project is. And then we would, go into the room and sometimes into Discord and encourage, hey, Doe, we got to get you out there. We got to get you out here talking about this project. And I remember, specifically talking to Doe in the Discord room about that, like, please, you got to get out there. And I think that, Michael Jordan of DeFi has really stepped up to the plate, and his appearances have, like, anybody who's listened to Doe on podcasts and things like that has really, you can only come away with saying like, wow, is this guy like the next Elon Musk? Is this guy like the next Steve Jobs? I mean, it's unbelievable. And that's another thing, right? It's like, so one of the things you look at as a fundamentalist is, or, an investor is, who's running this project and how capable are they, right? And so, while I didn't know Doe on a personal level, I was able to glean a lot of sort of information, like intuitively, by listening to his speech and seeing his confidence in things, and his ability to present and articulate ideas. I think that's only gotten better over time. But that was one of the reasons why I made an initial big bet on Terra. It was really betting on Do Kwon, right? And if, like, I saw, going back to interviews with Ivan on Tech and him presenting back before the scamdemic was going crazy. He was out there and he was presenting, right? And so, and I was just like incredibly impressed with this guy. So that was like one of the big factors of why I decided like, this is great, right? You combine the white paper, you combine a founder who's got not only charisma, but he's got the giga brain, right? He's not just a guy out there promoting, but he's actually a developer. I remember Do Kwon saying once in one of the Telegram chats, somebody was saying like, is this code audited and blah, 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 blah. And, you know, being critical. And he said, I personally review every line of code that comes from TFL. So I was like, that's great. You know, this guy like went to work for Microsoft and got bored, you know, and then, finally found something that can keep him busy with Terra. So again, active investor, value add investor. And so I named the Lunatics, right? I called it the Lunatics. Why? Because it was just obvious. The Lunatics, it's fun. This is crypto, right? Now I would go into the Discord rooms and things, and they would say, we cannot name, we got to stick to Terrans. We can't call this the Lunatics. This is supposed to be a proper financial company. Nobody will ever take us seriously if we call ourselves the Lunatics. And so, you know, I actually had to fight to keep that name, right? I actually had to keep calling us the Lunatics. And eventually people started saying Lunatics, right? Because, you know, one of the things in communities is, and what I learned from sort of being involved a little bit, embarrassingly, in EOS and things like that, a little bit in Bitcoin Cash, because I wanted to use crypto as a means of exchange. Imagine that, you know, which is something Terra does incredibly well, maybe better than any crypto ever. Is that what was I going to say? Kind of lost my train of thought there. What was I just saying?
You were talking about how Terra, you wanted to keep the name like the Lunatics instead of the Terrans, and you have to keep that name. And then you went into, like, you were embarrassingly in a couple other projects, EOS, Bitcoin Cash, stuff like that.
Yeah, and so what you see is, like, what I saw as somebody who was engaged in the community and trying to build a community out, is that if you let the trolls and the haters come into the room, they can actually poison the project, and they can actually poison the community. And one thing that I really appreciate about Doe is those guys, like, I'm kind of a pit bull. They let me be myself, right? Nobody banned me. I've been banned from multiple crypto communities, right? Those crypto communities have gone nowhere. They're dead, right? But the ones that have let the guys stick up for the project, push the project, talk about what's good in the project, smash the fudders in the face, right? Because people come in and you don't know what their angle is. It could be a competing project or something like that. But then they start to change the narrative of the actual project. And then you get like this toxic, weird community and whatnot. So what was cool about Terra in the beginning is we had a core group of guys who sort of already made it, right? Like these guys like Flammel, and you'll see him, right, tweeting a lot, and Nikki Fung, and different guys like that. So we were all together in pushing this project and pushing our investment as active value add investors. All right, there was nothing immediate in it for us, but it's like a delayed gratification, right? And so then, right after I pushed for the Lunatics to stick with that name, and look at what that name has done now, right? That name is ubiquitous now across crypto, right? And so it sounds like a simple thing, the Lunatics, but that's a key thing to this community, right? The Lunatics, right? But that was a sort of like, people were afraid to say the Lunatics at first, but then it sort of took it, and now it's got a life of its own. So anyway, another thing that happened early on, I just want to give an example of this, is that we were talking in the elders room, and we're saying, like, somebody from TFL said something like, we really could use a video series for this anchor and mirror and how to use it and stuff. And I was like, yeah, I've been thinking about that for a long time. And, we really need something. Really need something. And they're like, well, we can hire this guy. We can possibly do this and do that. And I said, you know what? I said, I'm just going to make a video series this weekend. And so I went home And in one afternoon, I produced 4 videos just sitting down at a screen with zero edits. Those and I broke it up, 4 parts. One was staking Luna, another one was mirror protocol, another video was how to use Anchor, another one was tying it all together. Do the Michael Jordan of DeFi, legend, right? Hashtag legend, right? So I was like, this is very let's just put it out there. I'm not a YouTuber. I have like 1,000 subscribers on my YouTube channel or something. So I just decided to put it out there. I did these videos, no edits, like I said. Next thing you know, ching, 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 ching. I get people like, this is incredible. Oh, you taught me how to use Mirror. It's changing my life. I can't believe this. And the moral of the story here is that, I had an impact on my investment, right? So like I put this out there and, I talked about how to use this protocol. I'm not a YouTuber, but because of this little video series, it was like a little bit of a spark to start a fire, I believe. I believe I contributed to that. I'm not saying I'm responsible for, where Luna is today, right? We'll give credit to TFL, the amazing devs and Do Kwon for that. And of course, the lunatic community, which has absolutely blossomed. And there are lunatics that probably don't even know who Nachodon is, right? It's like people are coming onto the platform now. They don't know who I am now, because now it's taken on a life of its own. But as a person who's invested into Luna early on, I can't be prouder, and I can't be, I think, more happy with my own decisions to invest the time that I did early on, because now I'm seeing it like really pay off. Now, can I see a direct correlation in what I did and how big the Lunatics community and Terra has become? I can't say for sure. It's kind of anecdotal. But I guess my point is, there are alternatives for traders out there to, whether, you can make 2 trades a year or 5 trades a year. You're still a trader, right? But there's other things that you can do now with crypto to help promote, and to, if you're fortunate enough to find a sort of, undiscovered gem, sort of like Luna was early on, and then invest time and energy into it, it can really pay off in big ways.
Okay, so you're saying, to kind of sum that up, I think that was a great story, by the way. So what the point you're kind of getting across is that, look for, in crypto, there is now the opportunity to look for amazing fundamental projects and then get involved early in the community. And by doing that, not only could it pay huge dividends to yourself, but also maybe help the project directly. While in the past, like you were just a trader, like you saw some stock, even if it just came out the day before, there's no way you could get access to any of that. It's all already been kept behind closed doors. There's only special interest groups that have access. But now in crypto, you described your experience. You're saying, look, I was kind of just, I was this guy that was interested. I read this white paper. It sounded amazing. And then I decided to put my time and energy into this because I believed in 2 things. One, you said you believed in the white paper. And 2, you believed in essentially a person, one person. And I've heard that too myself throughout my life. Like, if it's about believing in people. And if you don't have good people working on something and you don't believe in those people, it's not going to be successful. So what I think, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think your message is really, really focus. If you want to find some big project that can take off, or you want to get involved in something, look for it early and then get involved with it deeply. But make sure that you can trust and believe in the other people in the project, at least the founders of it, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And, there's going to be times like, you're going to invest in, you have to be willing to shoot some blanks here too. Like, you're going to put in some time to things. There's been a handful of communities. Maybe I could come on another time and talk about communities that I tried to build and I wasn't giving I wasn't given any leeway to like be myself and to help form the community, and they failed. They're nowhere today.
Yeah.
They're literally nowhere. And I really believe that if they let me sort of have a little bit more leeway with the community and stuff, and they heeded some of my advice or wisdom, not saying I'm the wisest guy in the world, but they would have done a lot better than where they are today. Terra is a different animal. You know, Do Kwan's a different kind of guy. You know, he's a special person for sure. And, you know, so, you know, I'm not by any means trying to say that, you know, oh, you know, Terra is great because of me. You know, not at all. I'm just saying that as an investor, it's been a real pleasure. When all the pieces do fit together eventually, that's when you get that huge win, right? It could be like a huge win. A small investment even can be an absolute huge win. Now, can we find those things today is another question, right? Like, you know, now that we're starting, we're going to maybe be going much higher. I don't know, you know, maybe, but
I think it's harder. I mean, I've looked at other communities, try to get, I mean, take, for example, NFTs, right? So I talked to you before how I'm really big and excited about Terra NFTs. Now, the minute a whitelist is announced for almost any NFT project right now, if you're not on that within like a day, you're not getting on that whitelist. Yeah. That's how fast this stuff moves now. If you want to be a quote unquote insider, you've got to be on top of this and one of the first people to know within a day or two. But the cool thing is, and the reason why it's so crazy is because you get on that whitelist and it's essentially free money. I mean, I got on Galactic Punk's whitelist, right? And I minted 3 Galactic Punks, 3 Luna each. Now the floor price, and for anyone out there that doesn't know, the floor price is like the minimum you can sell it. You should be able to sell your NFT for. The floor price, last I checked, was 75 or 80 Luna. I mean, how often has anyone in here seen a trade? Essentially, it was a trade that over 20x'd, okay, 2,000% return. How often does that happen without leverage?
Yeah,
it's extremely uncommon. So yeah, it's in this. I think we're in kind of the late stage of this bull cycle, and I think it's difficult to get in and be involved during this time. But I think your message should carry over to for the bear cycle, and during that bear cycle, that's when you look for these type of projects. And Brian talks about all that all the time. He calls it the development cycle. And that's when you get in, you stay involved, you put in the time, and if you made the correct choice with the community and the people there, and of course the fundamentals of the project, the white paper or whatever, I just call it the white paper, but it's the fundamentals of the actual project itself. What are they doing? I think that's when you can really get involved and make a difference. I think right now it's extremely difficult. Yeah. You still can, but I think you kind of need like connections per se.
Yeah. And I think, you know, Julian, it's like, that's a real good point. And I like the fact that you brought up NFTs, because it's like, you know, the whole NFT thing is sort of another chance for guys who didn't get involved in the early portion of this bull cycle to sort of get that 20x by putting in some work, by getting on these white lists and things like that. Now, it's not a game for me, really, to be honest with you. It's like, you know, but I've got guys in my group, I've got an NFT room where certain guys have gravitated towards fighting for positions on these white lists and, you know, and all of that. And they seem to be having a lot of fun with it. Some have described it as soul sucking. But
it's a little bit soul sucking sometimes.
Yeah.
Let me tell you, Luna, you know about Luna Bulls, right? I think you have a custom Luna Bull.
I do have
a Nachodon. Nachodon. Go ahead.
Yeah.
Shout out
to the Luna Bulls. Shout out to the Luna Bulls for giving me my custom Luna Bull. And you know, I've gotten some offers for some new customs coming down the line. Galaxy Punks, you missed the boat. No Nachodon NFT. Are you guys really lunatics? I mean, give me a break. But anyway, I love my Galactic Punks. I actually did go out and buy like 15 of them. So, you know, I got a bunch. I'm going to stick in.
Yeah, TRI bought a few as well. We bought 4 or 5.
I couldn't resist. I did get some FOMO there. So, you know, full disclosure. But I want to say too that, you know, one of the things that being involved in a community too, that ends up starting to move, right, starting to take off, is it's a lot of fun. You know, it's a lot of fun. I mean, leverage trading and stuff, and growing your portfolio and having a big win, sure, that gets the adrenaline pumping, and that's cool. But there's nothing quite like, making the connections that you will, the human interactions that you will, the community members that you're going to meet. And I think that's one of the things that's really making Terra and the Lunatics fly right now, is the fact that it's attracted a lot of good, smart people who are passionate. A lot of them are builders. A lot of them have dreams to build. And it's just become like this sort of petri dish of creativity and camaraderie and whatever, all these good things.
I think
yeah,
we understand that. Like, I understand that very well here. I mean, Brian, it's half the reason, most trading schools and stuff like that, the minute you want to buy a course, they'll give you instant access. Right. What is the problem with that when they do that? You're not taking it with anyone. And nobody's making sure that you're doing what essentially you paid for. Yeah. Now, of course, everyone's an adult and you have freedom to do whatever you want. But at TRI, we really value community. And that's the reason why even to this day, and people have proposed to me and said, look, this is difficult. This is old style. I'm like, look, if we run it like a real university course where everyone has to take it together, start at the same time, progress together, you encourage a community. And people build connections, trading together and learning at the same time. I mean, it lines up exactly. We've been doing it here for a long time. So I totally agree with everything you're saying here. I think it's extremely important.
Yeah, it's so cool. I can't say enough about. I think the fact that I sent 20 of my own private members to TRI school is a testimony to what I think of TRI. I don't think I need to say anymore, right? But that's there's my commercial, right? I sent my guys to spend their valuable time and their money at TRI. So that tells you how I feel about TRI and what you can learn there. And I think what you guys have done has absolutely been incredible. And now it's fun because, my community is a little different, right? We're like non-face mask wearing, non-zombie juice taking kind of people. We love our freedom and stuff like that. So that's very important. You have to have an interview with me typically to get into the group and stuff like that. And then it's not free, So, the thing is, though, it's really cool now that we're talking about. It's funny, we're talking about like I didn't nanny nibble that, and we're still half on a double, and using the Brian terminology. Floating around the NRL now, so it's pretty cool. So like we're like a sort of subset of TRI, in some way. So it's a lot of fun.
We have a couple of them, and I love hearing it. I mean, even DaVinci J15 uses TRI terms. I don't know if you've watched any of his videos, but he doesn't list anything related to TRI or really mention TRI anymore, but he still uses the TRI terms. It's so funny when I watch it. Yeah. And I see him like, okay, talk about little lady. Okay, sell half on a double. So I'm like, wow, he didn't change them.
Well, you spend, 36 weeks, it's like basically a whole year of courses, doing this stuff and hearing Brian's lectures and stuff. It does sort of get into you after a while in a good way.
Yeah, exactly. Well, you know what? I told you I'm super excited. Is there anything else in particular you want to talk about? Because if nothing in particular, I told you I'm super excited about NFTs, right? I wanted to talk about NFTs. Maybe you can, and I know you're talking to some of the groups, and you did a shout out to Luna Bulls, which I wanted to say, the one thing I don't like about the NFTs is there are contests, and the contests are fun. Yeah. What I don't like, and I think the communities are learning that this is not the best thing to do. It seems like a good idea in concept, but then it ends up being truly, as you mentioned, soul sucking. Luna Bulls ran a XP contest. So for anyone that doesn't know, you gain XP by posting. However, they limit how often you can post in the group so you can't spam. So it was like every 5 minutes or something. So what happened a day before they closed they said, look, we're going to put the top 500 posters on the whitelist. So then what do you think happened? People didn't sleep for 24 hours and they spent the whole time just posting nonsense to the room.
Absolutely crazy.
Just so they could try to get on the whitelist. And there was like competition, like, oh, I'm 501, I'm 502, oh, 500. And when I saw that, I was like, screw it. I can't sit here for 24 hours. I'm too busy. So there are some interesting things in the NFTs and communities that are being built these days, but there's also drawbacks because there's so many people and so much hype now that you're going to get this kind of stuff where there's an initial idea that seems great, but you have all these like people that come on that are really just there for only the money in the short term, and they're willing to do whatever it takes. I mean, I talked to a friend the other day, and he told me that he's actually hiring virtual assistants, and those virtual assistants.
I tried to do that myself. I tried to do that myself with people in my group, but they've made too much money on Luna to work for me.
They're hiring virtual assistants to go into these groups and do all the tasks. So it's extremely interesting. Anyway, what NFTs other than Luna Bulls are you most excited about that are coming up where there is possibly still a whitelist available that you think TRI members should consider?
Well, I'm gonna say okay. So I'm gonna put this out there. This is my boys' project, and by the way, I'm a partner in LearnTerra.io. Anybody who wants to learn about Terra, watch my old videos, watch the new videos being created by the community. LearnTerra.io is an amazing site that my friend Renee Carl has made and put his heart and soul into. We need to get him some funding so they can get more devs and build that site out, and we're going to be working on that. He's also involved in a project coming out of Montreal, Canada called Stylar NFTs, and that you can follow them on Twitter at STYLLAR NFT, Stylar with 2 L's, NFT. So keep an eye out for them. There's also the Levana Dragons. Okay, now Levana is a protocol coming to Terra that is going to be an automatic market maker sort of DEX with leverage trading. Okay, so this is amazing. I know leverage trading. I know the founder. They have Dragon Egg NFTs. Okay. To be honest with you, I'm not so up to date on them, but there's a lot of hype on those.
I am. I can talk about that if you want. I'm Levana. I'm in the Levana OGs of the Discord, but not personally connected to the founder.
Why don't you talk a little bit about the Levana? Why don't you talk a little bit about the Levana?
Okay. So this is sure. I can talk about it. Sure. So I'm very excited about Levana. Maybe because I love dragons. I don't know why. Maybe because leverage has burned me so many times. I'm just attracted to being like burned more. It's like, oh, leverage on Terra. Finally, I can blow up my portfolio. No, I'm kidding. But I love the dragon art, right, that they're doing. I've always loved dragons. I was born in, I track my horoscope stuff. So I was born in the year of the dragon according to the Chinese horoscope. So I've always followed that kind of stuff. And I loved when I saw the art style and the idea about the NFTs. I'm like, wow, okay, these are cool. So they're going to have a meteor shower for 44 hours where you can potentially get an NFT, which can apparently like turbocharge your farming once they launch the actual platform. So the dragon's going to help you earn higher rewards. And so it has an actual purpose. And I love when NFTs have an actual purpose. And that's why I'm excited for, obviously, the next step is going to be gaming on Terra, NFT gaming, where you use an NFT in a game. And I'm looking at some stuff myself. We're not gonna talk about it here. Maybe in a couple weeks. But for now, that's the other thing that's coming.
I want to also give I want to give a little shout out to a team that I'm sort of helping advise on Terra. We'll see what they become. They still got a ways to go, but it's called Deviants. It's going to be an NFT card game in the spirit of Magic the Gathering for all you Magic the Gathering and poker players. And I know a lot of early Bitcoiners and maybe OGs on the TRI site. I've done that, and very cool guys. I've met with.
It's going to be a play to earn game.
Play to earn, baby. Okay. Yeah. So
like Axie Infinity. Everyone here knows about Axie Infinity. I talk about it all the time.
Yeah, so I haven't actually played the game yet. I'm pressing the guys to give me some gameplay and let me see how it works so I can explain it better. But Deviants and our NFT, Deviants is going to be the NFT card game, and they're a very ambitious team. So keep an eye out for that. Follow them on Twitter. I believe they are Deviants Factions. Let's see, Deviants Factions, and it is at Deviants, DEVIANTS NFT, Deviants NFT. So follow them, and very, very cool group of guys from South America building this, and I really love their ambition there. So keep an eye out for that.
Do you do anything? Because I know people, because of what happened a lot on Binance Smart Chain, people are concerned about rug pulls, and I think a rug pull did happen recently with an NFT on Terra. I think it was the first one, the first rug pull on Terra.
Might have been the waifus or something like that.
I think it was with the waifus.
Yeah.
Is there anything you do when you're talking to these projects to make sure that they are not scammers?
Ooh, yeah. Well, yeah, that's something that me and my sort of like, mini VC partners, we talk about a lot, and try to get a beat on that. I don't want to say exactly, what we do, but I think a lot of it comes down to, having meetings like this, looking each other in the eye and trying to discern whether or not these people seem, legit or not, right? Especially if you're going to be making early investments in them. And, I will say that, for the most part, the people that I've met that are building on Terra have been incredible. That doesn't mean that, these rug pulls won't happen there, because
I think they will increase. The more popular it becomes, it will increase exponentially.
Now, keep in mind, too, that there's a difference, right, when you're going out investing in these things, even something like Galactic Punks and, Random Earth. These guys were not audited, right? Now, I still went out and I still aped into Galactic Punks, right? But, I probably, there's a much higher risk there in the sense that, the project is not audited. Now, the reason, though, I aped into Galactic Punks is because they were the first ones, though, right? They look pretty cool, I gotta admit, and also the fact that I do respect the hustle of wanting to get to market first, and they did that. Yeah. And so, I looked at it as like, the weighing out the scam versus whatever. What are the chances that the person that are hustling the most to get to market first are going to be are going to be a scam? So I just decided to make that bet that it's not a scam. Yeah. And even though it wasn't audited, I had to be part of the first thing. I did not get on the whitelist. I was actually sleeping on that one. I just totally, You
slept on Galactic Punk's whitelist?
I totally did.
Really?
Listen, I have been so late to the NFT game. It's embarrassing.
Oh my goodness. It's a little bit embarrassing. A little bit.
It is. I did not mint a Galactic Punk. It's well documented on Twitter. Because
you didn't get on the Galactic Punk whitelist, and yet you're here today appearing as a pixel.
I should have my own Galactic Punk. I can't believe that it didn't make me. They did not make me a custom Nacho Galactic Punk. Shame on them. Shame on them again.
Shame on them. Maybe it's because you weren't on their whitelist. If you had been, they would have done it.
Well,
By the way, for anyone watching, Nachodon's, there's nothing wrong with his camera. It's just, I think he's in a hotel somewhere and has the download speed for him is really good, but the upload speed is not so great. So it's degraded the quality. So he is appearing as a Nachodon pixel today. Perhaps next time we have him on, we'll have maybe we'll upgrade to like 720p, 1080p picture.
Yeah, so you see my pretty face.
By the way, I have. Do you see my screen right now? Do you see what I'm presenting? I do have a Terra NFT spreadsheet of every project coming to Terra.
Would you be willing to share that with me?
Maybe. Yeah, I can share it. I already shared it in the Hangout actually, so it's in there. And I was wondering if we'll just scan through it really quick, and if there's anything you recognize in here.
Okay.
Not sure if you can see my screen. Maybe I'll make the names bigger.
Bag of Dicks. I heard that's Charles Hoskinson's favorite project on Terra. All right. Let's see. There you go. Okay, so one thing that I'm interested in is, like I said, Lavana. And I'm interested in Derby Stars. I like the idea of breeding horses. And
it works well.
And putting it together, and I think they have a similar game on Ethereum And I think it could be just better on Terra because, I mean, look at the incredible lunatic community that we have. Imagine racing horses against each other. So I think Derby Stars can be very cool.
Derby Stars is very new. I'm in the Discord, by the way.
Okay.
And there's no whitelist yet or anything, so you guys should definitely jump in to that one. I agree. It's interesting. You keep mentioning the ones that I already know about and I love.
Nice.
So Derby Star, keep your eye on that one. I think that is. I've looked at, there are equivalent horse racing games on Binance and Ethereum, and I think D-Race is one of the bigger ones. And the horses there are already selling for $4,000 or $5,000 a horse.
Unbelievable.
Yeah. So imagine even a quarter of that on Luna. If you can mint one for $100 and then sell it for $3, or maybe use it as a passive income source, because you can use these games to earn money.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Good point, Julian.
Yeah.
Now, what about Hero? Now, this is one that I don't know too much about, but I know it's a dual launch on Solana and Terra.
Yes.
And I know there's a bunch of guys in my private group that are fighting for positions on the Hero the Hero whitelist, trying to keep their.
Do you know that they don't even have a website though? I checked their Twitter,
really?
And I didn't even see they don't have a website. There's no. You see, look at this. There's no official site. There's not even a Discord on this list. They have one now though. I don't even know how people got on their whitelist. Like apparently the whitelist is already full. There's already 2,000 people on the whitelist.
Okay. Yeah.
I don't even know how that happened, but I missed it. And then I was like, where's the website? They don't even have a website.
I will say that last week, there's one particular guy in my private group who's been talking about how arduous it was to maintain his XP level for the Hero. And so for the Hero NFT. And that's all I can really say about it. But it seemed to have a sufficient amount of hype or anything, and I think that's pretty much all we're talking about here. And that the NFTs is really cool, right?
It's because they picked the two top chains right now. So there's Solana and Terra. They're the two top hyped chains. I think Terra is going to be next. I think Terra is going to pull a Solana, and that's why I'm more bullish on Terra. I think Solana kind of already the ship kind of already took off. Yeah. Terra, you're halfway. You're halfway there.
Yeah, let me say this about Solana too. And again, I'm a very opinionated person. I run a private group with 100 people. I interview people. I kick people out of my group if I don't like them. I'm that kind of guy. Yep. But I will say that when Solana was dipping down to $20-some, $30, I said, okay, maybe it's time for me to get into this as a sort of investor again, right? As somebody who's going to ride this huge wave up. And I went out and so for the fundamentalist in me, I go and I want to look for I want to see signs of life. I knew it already had a nice run. I didn't get in early enough as I usually like to, but I said, maybe it's time for me to get on the Solana train. And what I went out and I looked for community there, and I did not find one. I was shocked. I went to Twitter. There was a lot of stuff just tweeting about price and tweeting about, with the tags with a million different cryptocurrencies in it, but I couldn't find who was their Nicholas Flamel, who was their where was their spokesman, where were their members of the team tweeting out interesting things. I really, at the time, and this is going back months now, I couldn't find any evidence of a real community, and so that's why I decided not to invest in Solana. And that's why I'm even more bullish, as you're saying, as Luna pull a Solana. I really feel like there's so much more upside with Terra, simply because the community is just absolutely.
Have you used any of the Solana protocols?
I have not, but people in my group have, and there's kind of mixed feelings about it.
Mixed feelings, right? I have mixed feelings too. I've used a couple. Some have been okay. Other ones have been terrible, really bad. And I've never experienced that on Terra. I was amazed at how smoothly the Galactic Punks mint went. I was shocked. Whoa, right. This is perfect. And that's what I've kind of come to expect from Terra. But on Solana, it was a little bit buggy. I'm surprised it took off as hard as it has. And I've noticed crypto Twitter everyone on crypto Twitter loves Solana. They all talk about Solana all the time, but not many people talk about Terra. I am also in a private group with some serious OGs, about 150 OGs that are extremely, extremely well connected and extremely wealthy, and they don't talk about Terra at all. They only really talk about Solana and FTX. That's it.
Well, I think that is. I think that has to do with possibly our own different perspectives, because like in my Twitter, all I see is Luna stuff, and I actually try not to follow too much Luna stuff, to be honest with you, because like I don't need to be told like Luna's going to $1,000 1,000 times a day. You know, so I try to filter some of that stuff out. But I like I said, I did go on a search for a Solana stuff months ago, and I couldn't find too much of a community. But you're telling me sort of the difference here. I will say that
they only started like going crazy about it the last 3 or 4 months. Okay. Before it was iffy, and what that tells me though, that encourages me, because I'm glad that these whales are not talking about Terra yet. That means we still have time. The minute you see guys on crypto Twitter with 250,000, 300,000 followers tweeting about it, you know that you might even be late already. You might be late. Good point. Or the bull is about to start. If you catch maybe their first tweet, but if you see them tweeting about it like 4 or 5 days later, it's usually prices already skyrocketed.
I have seen recently like a couple accounts with over 100,000 talking about Terra. So I think that the momentum might starting to shift. But the biggest influencer in the Terra community, a lot of people know, is Nicholas Flamel, and he's got like 19,000 or 20,000 followers or something like that, which is a lot. But
I know Nicholas.
Nothing like what you're talking about, like these big, huge, these huge, these whales. I think that could be coming to Terra, and once they discover Anchor Protocol, and then the cross-chain liquidity with Ethereum and stuff like that. I mean, getting 20%.
NFTs might be the catalyst for that, because they might start seeing all these NFTs are coming. They all keep 10xing in price. We have to ape into this. I mean, these whales could easily, right? I know a couple people who could sweep the entire NFT floor of every single NFT project on Terra right now, just like that. It would be like nothing to them.
Let me say this: we welcome you, whales, to the Terra community. Nachodon will personally roll out the red carpet for you to introduce you and help you in any way I can to come into the Terra community. We love whales. We love guppies. We love everybody. And so I'm just very, very stoked about the Terra community. And I think you're still early.
Yeah, I agree. So let's go through a little bit more of this list. We've got Lunatic, Moonman, Minerva, Monstera, Moody. I've never even heard of most of these. Dear Lunatic.
Man, this is some list.
Obviously, Space Loots.
I've heard
Tales of Terra. I've heard of. Yeah.
Okay. You know what one that I wanted to mention too? Mainly because they're going to build me a custom NFT. I mean, you gotta. They reached out to me. I mean, in respect. I mean, game recognizes game, I guess. Women versus apes.
Women versus. Oh, I see it right here. It's right here.
Yeah. Women
versus apes. What is that's a game?
Not sure. it's an NFT project coming to Terra. You do have it there, so.
They have a. Let's click on this website. Let's open the site. They do have a website, so that's better than Hero.
There we go.
What the hell am I looking at? Hey, it's a put together site, and it looks like they already have some decent graphics.
Dude, the Lunatics are artistic, man. I'm telling you.
Oh, interesting.
All right.
War Gallery. It looks like it's just an NFT for now. What is Woman is the first comic? It's going to be a comic.
Oh, right. Okay, it's a comic.
Hybrid comics using After Effects as part of this NFT project.
And you have to pick a side. They asked me if I want my NFT to be an ape or a woman, and I said, of course, an ape, because I'm a misogynist. Just kidding.
All right, interesting. Okay, but it's another NFT art project. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. I don't have to get too worried. It's not a game.
Well, yeah. I don't know. So other than that, Julian, I'm sorry, I can't offer much insight into these. I am not.
No, it's okay. That was plenty. I appreciate it. Thank you
I'm
so
not a Terra
much.
NFT expert by any means. If anybody has any interest in talking about NFTs and stuff like that, particularly on Terra,
Did you see what Will said? Will's always on my shows. I love having Will on, and he's always
too many
talkative.
masks. Yeah,
He said too many masks in the
there
women
were a lot
versus
of masks
apes.
in those images.
There were, right?
I might have to
I hope
reconsider
yours.
us.
I hope yours isn't going to have a mask.
Oh, if they put
I'll
a
be
mask on,
disappointed
I'll
if
just fucking hand it right back to him.
if
I'm not kidding. Better not put a mask on the Nacho NFT. I'll tell you that much.
Well, you know what I want to talk about really quick? I want to get your opinion on this. Okay. So we talked about the nightmare of the soul sucking of the XP thing to get on the whitelist. Well, Levana, we touched base on Levana, and I kind of didn't finish what I was talking about with Levana. Levana is doing what I consider a auction house NFT drop, where basically every let me just pull it up. You know, we'll pull it up and talk about it. I want to get your opinion on this because I know why they're doing this, but at the same time, I'm a little bit. It is definitely going to favor people with money. It's not like going to be really what I would say a fair launch. Where is it? Levana Meteors. I think this is the one I'm looking for. Let me pull it over here. Dude, Levana Meteors. Oh, wait. Levana Meteors. Okay. Let's let this pull up. By the way, I love their art style. Levana art style, whoever their graphic artist is, I would like to meet them, and I would love to hire them. Hopefully they haven't made too much money on Luna and are out of my price range.
Right.
Okay, so here's the meteor shower, and let's go back to where they talk about it. Okay, so first they talk about where they're going to use the funds that they get for it. So 16.5% is going to go to the team. It's a bit much, but it's also okay. I understand. And then 83.5%, they're doing this NFT to fund their pool. Okay, I'm guessing that they don't have big VC backers or something at this time. Maybe they do. I'm not sure, but what this is telling me is they don't, and so they have to fund the pool, the initial pool, with this money. That's what they're saying.
Let's just back up there for a second. I am an investor in like a sort of community investor early investor into Levana. From the best of my knowledge, I think Delphi is invested in them pretty heavily, and some other big players. I don't think.
Did you know that Siorn participated in a hackathon with Delphi Labs?
Oh, really? How do you do there?
I think he did pretty well. I forget exactly what he did, but yeah, he participated in a hackathon.
Well, Sword, and so happy to hear he's a lunatic, and so many of the TRI guys.
He is. He's a super lunatic.
Awesome.
He's almost elder level, but not.
Are there a lot of There's a lot of TRI lunatics. Is that correct?
I think there are. I think Siorn has kind of built a little community. I resisted for quite a long time, much to my regret. But I finally jumped on board now that I see all the NFTs, and I love the NFTs. I'm the official representative of TRI. My job at TRI, part of my job, is to make sure I get TRI on every NFT whitelist so we can mint them for our Luna portfolio.
Well, make sure that one of the 20 guys that I sent you, and with these that are into the NFTs, you get them into your group and help lead the way there, will you please?
We can. We have a Terra group section, and we also have an NFT section. So
okay. I'm gonna have these guys hit you up, and because
sure.
I do have a handful of guys that are really into this NFT stuff, and unfortunately I just can't help them as much as I'd like to, as much as I help on other things.
Yeah, well, I talk about it every week. I'm going to be updating people, but sometimes
it's
that's
interesting.
in the NFT world.
It's really added a new wrinkle to and I wouldn't even call it a wrinkle. It's like a whole other world to crypto investing. I mean,
yeah,
it's been so amazing, and it provides an outlet, I think, for a different type of trader investor. Somebody, maybe somebody who really likes the art and likes the sort of the tangible aspect of these NFTs in a way, and I think that's really
it's another way to kind of gamify DeFi and make it fun. But what I wanted to talk about were these meteors and what Levana's doing. So
Okay.
normally in a mint, an NFT mint, they have a set price, $80, $100. In this case, 2 Luna, 3 Luna is normally what the set price is. Now, if we look at this, can you see what Levana is doing? They're saying the minimum contribution is going to be set at $1, and then there is no maximum contribution. But however, the higher you contribute, the more likely it is that you will receive a dragon egg.
Oh my gosh.
So
Right.
it is a lottery. We're dealing
Now,
with a lottery here.
I heard that a lot of people may never open their dragon eggs, only to sell them somewhere down the line for the potential of that they might
They could.
have a dragon inside.
They could. There's so many things that can happen because everyone's going to get basically a meteor, and then you have to decide: am I going to crack my meteor or not? So you could sell your meteor on the secondary marketplace, and nobody knows if it is a real meteor or not. But I think they did create categories. You see here, meteor distribution. We've got legendary meteors, we've got ancient meteors, we've got rare meteors, and common meteors. Okay, and this is how it breaks down right here. So if you're a top 10, if you're a whale, you can guarantee that you will get a legendary meteor, which is guaranteed to contain a dragon egg. Okay, there's only going to be 10 though so how many right here? There's going to be 101. It looks like there's going to be 200 dragon eggs every hour for 44 hours.
So what date is this, by the way? Where does this go off? I should know this, right?
Oh, they didn't announce.
Oh, okay.
I don't even know.
Right. I didn't
it's
miss
still
it.
a secret. It's still like a secret. They're gonna send an email, they said.
Hey,
by
Jonathan,
the way, I like their
hey Jonathan, I want an egg.
So it's very I've never seen someone do this type of release of an NFT. I mean, it's literally an auction. Now, I understand why they're doing it. They're going to maximize. They're going to make a lot probably with this, okay? Because there's some whales that will probably contribute maybe $10,000 for every single one, and they could end up with 44 dragon eggs, which is I don't know if I like that, because in the regular mints and stuff like that, the maximum is 4 or 5 normally you can end up with, no matter how much money you have. But here, people could end up with 44 if they've got enough money. You're essentially paying for your dragon egg. Like if you put in, I guarantee if you put in $1 every time for 44 times, you're not going to get anything. Because your chances, chance of a meteor containing a dragon egg, 15%. Now this is just assuming only 1,000 people are going to participate each hour. There's no way it's going to be only 1,000. It's going to be 5,000, 10,000. So that means your chance of getting a meteor drops to below 1%. If you're not in the top, you got to be in the top 25%. Even if you're only in the top, if you're in the top 10%, you only got about 3% chance of getting a meteor, assuming 10,000 people.
So what would you like to see changed about this? Because I'll tell you what I'm going to do for you, since I like you so much, Julian, and I love the TRI community. I'm going to personally take this video over to the founder of Levana, and I'm going to tell him to watch it and air the grievances here and see if there's any response to your criticisms.
Okay, it's we'll see what he says, but I mean, like I said, I understand from their perspective. They're trying to maximize the amount of money they can get from this NFT drop, so then they can make sure that they launch the Levana protocol with an appropriately sized liquidity pool. I totally understand. But at the same time, I wish there was a way to make it a little bit more fair, because right now, I mean, you got to agree with me, right? It's basically whoever has the most money. That's it for the most part.
Maybe that's part of the strategy, though, is to induce people with a lot of money to provide the liquidity on this platform.
Exactly.
Levana will be competing with the likes of Astroport, which is coming to Terra and should be a real sort of game changer. And I think this is them, Levana stepping up the game in a sense of saying, like, look, there's going to be Astroport and there's going to be us, and we're going to go toe to toe, and we're going to compete for some of that liquidity, and we're going to do it a little differently with these dragon eggs and the storyline and all that. And I think it's
I
cool.
do love the dragon eggs. Don't get me wrong. I love this
Yeah.
idea. I really do.
You just want a dragon egg, Julian. I know.
I really want to.
You want your dragon.
I want my dragon egg, and I don't want to pay $10,000 for it. I just want one dragon egg. Maybe one for TRI too. Yeah, it.
But we'll see. We'll see. I'll bring this up. I'll definitely be dropping this in a private group that I have with Lavana, and I'll tell Jonathan take a look at it. I'll try to timestamp it for him where you're talking about it, and I'll see what he has to say, and I'll get back to you if he says anything.
Awesome, great to hear that. Cool. So my last thing, we've been talking for a while, and I really appreciate it. By the way, my last thing is what protocol, what 2 Terra protocols that aren't out yet or in the initial stages are you most excited about?
Oh gosh, well, I should have been prepared for this question, huh?
Yeah, of course. Come on.
That are not out yet. Oh my gosh.
Well, they're in development, not released, or they are in their initial maybe funding stage. That you're allowed to talk about. Don't talk about anything you're not allowed.
There's so many. There's so many. I am pretty stoked for Lavana, and part of that has to do with having the sort of skin in the game there early on, and I appreciate that. Appreciate Jonathan, including Learn Terra team in that.
That's great.
So I am pretty stoked for this. Wish I could give more input on the dragon eggs and all that, but
it's okay.
I am really stoked for Astroport as well. I mean, I'm really stoked for IBC on Terra to now sort of bridge. IBC is an inter blockchain protocol where now you can move coins from you can move Atom to Terra and vice versa, cross chains, and it's a native protocol to all Cosmos SDK chains. And so I'm very excited sort of about that underlying technology, which allows the cross-chain liquidity as a native implement to all Cosmos-based chains, and that would be like Thor chain and Terra and Binance chain, and these are all Cosmos chains, Atom, right? So I'm really excited about that, and what protocols like Lavana are going to DEXs are going to bring are going to add to the Cosmos ecosystem in general. So, that cross-chain liquidity, and we're going to see Osmos and Atoms and, CRO coin and, all these coins being able to be traded on Lavana for, and so
that's awesome. That's really awesome. I like that.
Yeah, it's really incredible. And actually the proposal just went up, I believe. TFL just put up the proposal on Terra Station governance. And so within about 2 weeks ish, we should have, Luna being traded on Osmosis Zone and things like that. So Osmosis Zone being the first IBC DEX to launch on Cosmos. It is its own chain, though. I mean, Cosmos, Internet of Blockchains, they're all their own validator sets. They essentially act as almost like shards to the Cosmos ecosystem. Terra, if Terra was to, Do Kwon just talked about this on the Delphi interview. One of the things we do is we share some publications and stuff in our group. And Delphi, when Do was on there, he was speaking about how even if Terra starts to expand so much and the Lunatics become so big and mass adoption and all this, well, how can it handle all the transactions? Well, they would just start to separate NFTs on their own chain, DEXs maybe on another chain, and something else on another chain, and each chain within Terra would act basically as a shard of its own set of transactions. But through IBC, we would have that cross-chain ability to interact with each other.
Wow. Okay. Yeah. I admit I only understood about half of what you just said. That sounds like a whole nother show in and of itself. But extremely interesting.
Yeah.
I think we've been talking for about an hour and a half. again, I really, really appreciate having you on. Let's just for 5 minutes, let's see, does anybody in the community have any questions for Nacho about in particular Terra ecosystem? Let's see if we got any questions. Normally Will has some kind of question. I do, but it's not Terra. Ryan Ross said Nebula on Terra is coming. I'm not sure what Nebula is.
So my understanding, the only sort of pointers I could give you on Nebula is if you want a bigger airdrop, if you hold a sizable amount of Luna, if you want a bigger airdrop, do not be validating with any of the top 5 validators by voting percentage, meaning the ones that have the most coins. So in the spirit of decentralization, Doe said that the lower the percentage of the validator voting power, which essentially is how many coins they have, is they're going to get a sort of pro rata increase in the amount of Nebula coins that are to them, and the top 5 will get 0.
Wow.
So if you're
that's huge alpha, guys. That's big.
If you're staked all to Orion money, for example, you're going to get 0 Nebula.
I think TRI has a decent amount, possibly in Orion money. I gotta check. We're staked in a couple different ones. I have to talk to Sjorn. That's interesting. Wow.
Yeah, and that's something Pokemon said a couple months ago. So yeah.
Okay, Mike. We already talked about Derby Stars. We said we both like it. We're interested in it. Get on their Discord. Make sure you're in the whitelist. I don't think the whitelist is even out yet, but you got to check every day because you never know when they're going to post it. All right, Will, shoot your question. It's okay if it's not on Terra. Last question. Thoughts on Punk6529's recent tweet thread? Let him check that really quick. Oh, he put the link in there for you in Google Hangouts. All right, after this, guys, we're gonna call it a day and let Nacho get back to his vacation.
Is this the? No, I'm not on vacation. I'm running from the New World Order. All right.
You're not supposed to.
Let's make that clear. Oh, is this a pathway to the open metaverse? Is that the one he's talking about?
I'm not sure.
The one, the Return of the Jedi versus Death Star mission?
He says yes.
How long is this thread?
Oh God.
I'm at 26, it's 31. Yeah, maybe I could comment on this another time. I'd have to.
Yeah. Maybe just read it, and you can always text me on Telegram, and then I'll report to the community next week, and I'll post on our Rocket Chat and stuff like that.
Yeah. Sorry, I didn't see this already. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, it says or tweet it out. I think you gained another follower.
Okay, great. I'm always looking to build my Twitter following.
I have to start working. I got to clean up my Twitter. You've inspired me.
Well,
okay.
I do tweet about some random things and some things Terra. Try to drop a little alpha in there if I ever get any, but I'm not like on a it's like even being on the Terra Elders. It's not like Do Kwon comes in and just feeds us with all kinds of like, hey, buy this, do this. He's never any of that. So,
no. Especially if he's in the spirit of decentralization and stuff like that. That's definitely not going to happen.
We don't get that kind of alpha. We just
but that's a good thing.
Yeah,
that's a good thing for the community.
I think so too.
Yeah, and I've got a comment. Like one last thing, there's something called SEB10X here in Thailand. There's SEB Bank, and they formed SEB10X, and they did a call on Twitter the other day with Do Kwon. It was a public call. And they asked him, one of the questions they asked him was, how can we make sure our competition doesn't steal our idea? And Do Kwon's answer was, competition is good. You should encourage your community and build your community so that they help you build the best product you can. And by encouraging and helping your community, you will, just by the support of the community, end up having the best product. And they were so shocked by that answer.
Yeah,
they just went, that was it. And then they went to the next question. And I'm like, okay, this is what we're dealing with. They don't understand. I mean, I've lived here for about 2 years in Thailand, and I'll tell you, the elite, they don't really understand competition because they don't have it. They just squash it whenever they want to. So I was laughing out loud at his response because they were so shocked.
Yeah.
So he that was what solidified it for me when he gave that kind of response. I was like, wow, okay, this guy is awesome. Not only is he smart, but he's also moral, and that's why I think Tara kicks ass.
Yeah, absolutely. And there was an interview with Doe that I particularly liked with the founder of, let me see if I get this coin right, EXRD. EXRD. Forgetting the name of the coin now. I bought a bunch of it, but anyway, he's got a podcast series, and Doe. I would encourage everybody to go check out that interview. It was from a few months ago. XRD Radix, eRadix. It's EXRD. Well, look up EXRD. The podcast. He runs a thing on YouTube. This is a sort of DeFi chain, little, something that I invested in here. This is one of those that's bumping along the bottom. Probably going to take a couple years to do anything. But Doe was on his podcast, and supposedly, from what I hear from friends, that the guy of eRadix is sort of a gigabrain guy. And Doe was on there, and he asked some really interesting questions about sort of like, regulations and freedom and, stuff like that. And, it was a pretty fascinating watch. Just to put that out there.
Okay, and it's called the YouTube. Is it on YouTube? Do you know?
Well, the YouTube, you'd have to, I could
just ERDX. You said.
Well, the coin is called eRadix or Radix, EXRD, or is that the Ethereum version?
EXRD.
That's the Ethereum version. That's the wrapped version. So let me get Radix is just XRD. Sorry, XRD. This is not a big promotion of that coin by any means.
No.
I'm just saying
I want to watch the interview.
The interview, and if we look at XRD, let me see if it brings it up. Radix. Okay. Yeah. So there. Can I find this guy's? Is it Coin Signer?
Somebody, Ryan Ross said Radix XRD. RADIX.
It's XRD. It's XRD. Anyway, if you can find his podcast, I don't know where it is.
Yeah. Okay. I'll look for it.
Radix DLT is the channel. Sorry.
Radix DLT. Okay.
Yeah. Radix DLT is the channel, and then you can go and find the Do Kwon interview in there somewhere, and that was really cool.
All right. Awesome.
Okay.
Let's call it a day. That was like my longest show ever, but it was great.
It was fun.
Really
appreciate it,
Nacho.
A lot of stuff.
Yeah, huge alpha here, guys. Appreciate everyone on TRI tuning in, and anybody from the public. Really appreciate you tuning in. Check out Nacho's community. If you're not part of TRI, we have a free membership. You can join, anytime for 30 days. For anyone who remembers my presentation a while ago on what I expect with Bitcoin and Mir and the stock market, just keep in mind, be careful this weekend, okay? Because I think Bitcoin could have a pullback, and we're not sure. There's no clear trend yet. We could still be in a range. So just be careful and avoid massive leverage, okay? Nobody get liquidated this weekend, please. I don't want to hear about it on Monday.
And I'll ask anybody if anything that's resonated about my community. I'll ask Julian to drop my email. You can get in touch with me.
Sure.
And we can go through the 8-month process to get into my group. Just kidding, but you can contact me, and we could see if we can get you into the community here if you have any interest, and we can take things from there too. But I'm not this is not a promotion. I'm not actively looking for tons of new members or anything. I'm pretty happy with the way the community is, kind of small, boutique, and yeah.
I feel like the way you said that is so Brian. You channeled Brian with that. You're like, I'm not doing a sales pitch. I'm not selling anything.
I'm not selling anything, but I'm selling everything.
Exactly. All right. Awesome. All right. Thank you so much, Nacho. Thank you, everybody that's out there watching. I'll see you next Thursday. All right. Bye, guys.
Bye, guys.